Our first order of business this evening is to elect officers for the 2014-2015 year. Served for 2 years, and we're going to do the election for the president first. Ms. Weaver has the ballots. You pass board members' ballots down there in this way, and it's already checked president, and all you have to do is write the person's name in, and I'll tell you the nominees if you have forgotten those. We had 2 nominees for president, Charles Worthy and Karen Williams. So what you need to do, all board members, just write in where you see name of nominee or candidate. Write whoever you're going to vote for in that line, sign it, print your name, and then pass it to me. You gonna pick them up?
Oh, they're already here.
You already here?
We got one more coming.
One more.
Okay.
Right there. That's not signed, though. We have one that is
What's
not
that?
signed.
That was mine. It's
Okay.
in pencil.
Yeah,
that's it.
Double check, please.
You sign that and also print your name, and we'll move forward. All right, yeah. That's 4. Yeah, that'll be fine. Okay, we have a 5-3 and abstention. And let me read this for the sake of the minutes here. David Huff, Charles Worthy, Charles Worthy, Charles Worthy, voted for myself. Linda Davis, Charles Worthy, Brandon Payne, Charles Worthy, and Denise Spangler, Charles Worthy. Carol Williams, Carol Williams, and Carol Williams, Sarah Ellis, Carol Williams, Carl Parks. And we have one abstention, and that's Ms. Thorne.
Could you just read certainly the requirements, if I could ask Mr. Pruitt, in terms of elections for majority votes, what's required?
Yeah, it's on almost actually every other issue that I'm aware of. It's a majority of the quorum for officers. It's a majority of the entire board. So even if someone's absent or there's an abstention, it has to be 5 votes. But we do have the 5 votes in this case, so we have a result in this one.
Okay.
So I keep the gavel. Thank you very much. Now we're going to do the vice president. If you pass those ballots down for the vice president. Make sure you sign it. There you go. Okay.
You might want to remind people who the nominees are.
Yeah.
The nominees are Linda Davis and Sarah Ellis.
Think everyone knew that ahead of time? Does that change anything? Okay.
Yeah, I'm anticipating that they read the email. Okay. All right. Okay, let's see. Wait a minute, there's something wrong here. You gotta give Robin back, you gotta do the nomination.
Yeah.
Okay? Give me that back. You got to do Linda Davis or Sarah Ellis. Alrighty. Okay. That's 5 here, I believe. 6. Okay, Sarah Ellis, Vernon Payne. Sarah Ellis, David Huff. Sarah Ellis. Okay. Sarah Ellis, Carol Williams, Sarah Ellis, Linda Davis, Sarah Ellis, Denise Spangley, Linda Davis, Charles Worthy, Linda Davis, Vita Thorne, Linda Davis, Carl Parks. Sarah Ellis, you are the Vice President.
Well, congratulations,
All right,
John.
everyone. Let's go. Let's move back.
Okay, you better hang on.
That's right.
Shall I give these to the secretary?
Yes, and I'm gonna pass the nominations ballots to the secretary as well. That also
Absolutely.
needs to be kept.
For the record.
Yeah, okay, that's what it read. Okay, are we ready to move the agenda? Yes. We're down to recognition of achievements and awards. Anissa? You on?
Do we adopt the agenda? We need to adopt the agenda first.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
skipped
sorry.
one item. Yeah. Just a minute. Have a motion to.
There are no recommendations. I mean, no changes or amendments.
You don't have anything to amend the agenda,
No, I
okay, so
don't.
I have a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Carr, seconded by Ms. Davis, all in favor of adoption of the agenda. Thank you very much, motion passed. Now, you all, sorry about that.
Okay.
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. Tonight, you may notice that we have Mayor Nancy Denson as well as several of our principals here, and that is because tonight we have a special surprise proclamation. So at this time, I'd like to turn the podium over to Mayor Denson.
Wow.
Thank you, everybody. And I can't tell you how, I don't think I've done a proclamation that's given me more pleasure than this one. And this is to Dr. Philip D. Lanou in celebration of being a finalist for Georgia Superintendent of the Year. Whereas Dr. Philip D. Lanou has provided years of outstanding leadership as Superintendent of Clarke County School District and was recognized as a finalist for Georgia Superintendent of the Year. And whereas Dr. Lanou has served as a transformative and visionary leader, resulting in students reaching high levels of achievement. And whereas under his leadership, the graduation rate is above all state subgroup averages, and the number of students that have dropped out has been reduced by 27%. Whereas under his leadership, the school district has been named Title I Distinguished District for closing the gap between economically disadvantaged and non-disadvantaged students, one of the top 100 communities in music education, a state-level model technology district, and whereas under his leadership, students are now engaged in innovative learning opportunities, excuse me, due to a variety of programs and partnerships with those in the Athens-Clarke County community and beyond, including the Athens Community Career Academy and Professional Development School partnership with the University of Georgia. And whereas under his leadership, the Athens-Clarke County community now knows and believes that all students can achieve and joins Dr. Lanou in being proud to be CCSD. Now, therefore, I, Nancy B. Denson, Mayor of the Unified Government of Athens-Clarke County, do hereby honor and recognize Dr. Philip D. Lanou and extend him warm and heartfelt congratulations for his many contributions to our school district and community, in witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of Athens Clarke County Community to be affixed this 9th day of January 2014. Can I say just one other quick thing? I want to thank the whole Board of Education as well as Dr. Lanou, because I have not been as proud of Clarke County Schools in many, many years as I am now, and I am your biggest cheerleader. So thank you for the job you're doing. School board, principals, teachers, everybody connected with Clarke County Schools, you make us proud. Of course, I can't leave the students out. Y'all are wonderful, too.
That's right.
Jump over, aren't you doing some jumping?
I want to see the students before I leave. But I'm spending the night at church tonight, so I've got to leave pretty soon. Oh, do you want to try?
They.
Thank you.
Thank you for deserving it.
Yeah, all right.
Incredible honor. Whew, okay.
Again, that was very well deserved, and I also want to thank Dr. Sally Zepeda. This was her idea to make this happen, so we want to thank, this is truly, she's our district-wide professor in residence. So from the school district to the mayor to the University of Georgia, we all celebrate this achievement. Next, I would like to recognize our 4-Star Awards Program employee winners. And so, honorees, when I call your name, please come up, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. First is Cindy Kelly. She is a 4th grade teacher and team leader at Whit Davis Elementary School, and she was nominated for this award by collaborating teacher Jennifer Biddle. And this is Ms. Kelly here tonight? Great. So I will read what Ms. Biddle had to say about you. Cindy Kelly is our 4th grade team leader at Whit Davis. I have had the pleasure of working with her this school year as a gifted collaborator in reading and math. In the morning, I love going to visit Cindy's classroom. Cindy has a great rapport with all of her students. She has created a warm, safe, caring environment in which students feel comfortable leading discussions, sharing their ideas, and even making mistakes. Ms. Kelly has high expectations for all of her students in her heterogeneous group. The curriculum is rigorous, and she helps each student meet their individual potential in all subject areas. Not only does she teach the CCGPS with fidelity, she manages to incorporate the standards in real-world projects that students can relate to. In fact, students recently worked on designing a floor plan for their classroom to utilize the space more effectively. Finally, Cindy has embraced technology wholeheartedly. She has blended it into instruction seamlessly. Each day, her students enter the room and open up their netbooks to Edmodo. All of her student morning work is pushed out through Edmodo, as well as her smartboard presentations. Students reflect on their learning using Edmodo as well. Cindy loves incorporating Renzulli Learning as a way to facilitate learning for those students that need enrichment. Along with Edmodo and Renzulli Learning, Cindy incorporates all that Google has to offer us. Students use Google Docs to work on their writing and share it with Ms. Kelly and other students. Ms. Kelly also integrates the use of Google presentations in their social studies and science class. Cindy Kelly is a 4-star teacher, and she deserves to be recognized. She is an inspiration to both teachers and students. Congratulations, Ms. Kelly.
I want you to know, she said it's all true.
Great work.
It's all true, and then some. It is all true.
Thank you.
Good job. Thank you so much.
Next is Amanda Kramer, who is a third grade teacher at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School, and she was nominated by team member Lisa Lane. And here's what Ms. Lane had to say. Amanda Kramer is a model teacher. She works long afternoons to plan for the days ahead. She is constantly trying to find or come up with engaging lessons and to make sure her students have the best resources. Amanda is always willing to help team members by sharing smartboard lessons, books, lesson ideas, and other resources. She manages a variety of student behaviors while extending and remediating those students in need. Amanda is a selfless teacher. She cares about her coworkers and students more than herself and willing to do what it takes to help someone in need. She is truly a great teacher, friend, and mentor. Amanda Kramer.
Congratulations.
Great job. Thanks.
Next is Sarah Lewis, a fifth grade teacher at Oglethorpe Avenue Elementary School, and she was nominated by her coworker Matthew Lang. And he said, I have been working closely with Sarah since January 2013. Her commitment and expertise to her profession are evident in her daily practices. I am fortunate to have her as my mentor teacher this year. This is my first year of teaching, and I have numerous questions. She has patience and is a wealth of knowledge across all aspects of our field. Her ability to relate to each student, faculty, and staff member is a valuable asset to our team at OAES. She is a fantastic example of what teaching is all about. I feel she would be a wonderful candidate and representative for this award. Sarah Lewis.
Great work. Thank you.
Congratulations.
And finally this evening we have Melissa Perez Tucker, who is a teacher at Cedar Shoals High School and was nominated by her colleague Darren Rim. And he had to say, Melissa Perez is a Spanish teacher at Cedar Shoals High School, and she works very hard to teach her students Spanish and to provide lessons for them that are both educational and socially relevant. Often the students are assigned projects that teach them about African, American, and European history that relates to Spanish and how the history of Spain has influenced the Americas, Africa, and the Caribbean. Two excellent examples of her teaching projects and the inclusion of themes about social justice, identity, and self-awareness are her assignment on Black superheroes and her project on culture, which was based upon the Latino tradition of the Day of the Dead. She is a wonderful teacher who truly loves her students. Ms. Perez.
She taught me gracias.
Great work. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's great.
Again, congratulations to all of our honorees this evening. You make us all proud to be CCSD.
You know, and again, as we talk about our teachers this evening, you're right. Those things you hear, those are just a snippet of what really happens. I mean, that just happens when I walk into the classroom. It doesn't talk about what happens outside of the classroom or after school or the preparational work to make that happen, or the phone calls, or the other kinds of conversations that you have with children and young adults about how they can get to their goals. So you represent us well, and you represent a large cadre of teachers in CCSD, and we are proud for all that you do, and thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lanoux, we're going to continue to move the agenda. Superintendent's report.
Well, we got some different people over here, so you're probably wondering. But they asked to be here, and I'm glad they did, because we talk about collaboration on a lot of different fronts, but this is a collaboration between our high schools. And it's something that's quite unique because we often talk about kind of chuckles about Cedar and Clarke Central, or the different kinds of competitive in a healthy way. But there are also lots of ways that we bridge and bring people together, and I can't think of a better demonstration of this than Les Miserables. And I'm going to turn it over to this group, you are here, you are on. So who is the spokesperson? Anyone you want to talk about?
I'm Harriet Anderson, and this is Rosemary Millsap, Kathy Hodge, and Tony Rucker. We have come together along with a student from Barnett Shoals, and we're bringing people in from everywhere to put together Les Miserables. It's a very large show, but we're very proud of our students, and we are all proud to be CCSE. We were told one time, should you let these kids do things together? And I said, you try to stop.
Yeah, right. That's right.
Because they love working together, and we appreciate you giving us this time.
And after you talk us about the performance of when it is. And,
Yes, sir.
okay, great. Yeah, look at her.
Stars in your multitudes, scarce to be counted, filling the darkness with order and light. You are the sentinels, silent and true, keeping watch in the night, keeping watch in the night. You know your place in the sky. You hold your course and your aim, and each in your season returns and returns, and is always the same. And if you fall as Lucifer fell, you fall in flame. And so it must be, for so it is written on the doorways to paradise, that those who falter and those who fall must pay the price. Lord, let me find him, that I may see him. Safe behind bars, I will never rest, till then, this I swear by the stars. One day more, another day, another destiny is never-ending road to Calvary. These men who seem to know my crime will surely come a second time, one day more.
I did not live until today. How can I live if we are parted?
One day more.
Tomorrow you'll be worlds away, and yet with you my world has started. One more day on my own. Will we ever meet again? Stay with him, not caring. I was born to be with you. If I might have known, and I swear I will be true.
One more day before the storm.
Do I follow where she goes?
At the velocade of freedom.
Shall I join my brothers there?
When our ranks begin to fall.
Do I stay and do I dare?
Your place with me.
The time is now. The day is here.
One day more. One more day to revolution. We will nip it in the bud. We'll be ready for these schoolboys. They will wet themselves with blood.
Watch them run amok, catch you as they fall. Never throw you up when there's a free fall roll. Here a little dip, there a little touch. Most of them are born so they won't miss much.
One day to a new beginning.
Raise the flag of freedom high.
Every man will be a king.
Every man will be a king.
There's a new world for the winning.
There's a new world to be won. Do you hear the people sing? My place is here. I fight with you.
One day more.
Watch them run amok.
Until today.
I will follow where they go. I will learn their riches. I will know the things they know.
Catch you as they fall. Never know your luck when there's a free fall roll.
And yet with you my world has started.
Tomorrow is the judgment day.
Tomorrow will discover what our God in heaven has in store.
Oh God,
One more day. One day more.
Come up, please.
This is a combined group. Rosemary Millsap and I started putting this together last spring or this summer sometime and decided to do this. We go up, we perform February 13th and 14th in the Clarke Central Auditorium, Male Auditorium, and on the 15th, 16th at the Cedar Shoals Auditorium. Yes, we are moving on Saturday. I want to give everybody an equal opportunity. Dr. Tony Rucker is our musical director. Kathy Hodge, also a teacher at Cedar Shoals, is the drama teacher at Cedar Shoals, is helping us out. We hope you'll all be able to join us, and please spread the word about this. Clarke County is doing some great things, and this is wonderful. So please spread the words to your friends and neighbors. 13, 14, 15, 16. We'll be putting it out all over everywhere. But we thank you for having us.
Great job.
Our shows will be at 3:30 on Thursday. 7:30 Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and 2:30.
I think 2:30 on Sunday.
2:30 is what I understood. Also, we'd like to thank Robbie Hooker and Tony Price. And I'm sorry, Dr. Price worked with me, Mr. Price worked with me at Clarke Central, and so he's been Tony for so many years. I just thought about that. I apologize, Mr. Price. We appreciate your work. We want to thank the support that we get from our principals also, so thank y'all.
Great, thank you.
That was fantastic, guys. We'll see you. We'll come and see you. That was great.
Paid good money.
I feel like I should spoil it, speak. I mean, just say the end and,
I'm gonna go.
Mayor Denson.
I should go.
Mayor Denson.
I can't believe that's the only video I have ever bought in the last 10 years. Is that right? Yes, I bought it for Christmas. The whole show. I haven't gonna see that.
Say to them, they're ready for Broadway.
These kids are in high school? Very talented. Oh, yeah. Really?
And you know, it's that they're at that age where they're not.
Absolutely.
I remember my daughter in high school.
Well, you,
This was her famous musicals.
I mean, there's a lot, yeah, there's a lot of things you can do, but you can't take time. Those kids are really good. Yeah, they are.
That's what I remember.
And to have somebody work with them like that.
My middle son.
Oh, that's fantastic. That really is.
It's really something.
Very strong. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to get to that.
I'm going to. I always say I'm going to do it, but this time I'm really going to.
No, I probably wouldn't have done it if I hadn't heard that. But, hate to say it, but you know.
All right, I don't want to.
Okay, Dr. Ledoux.
It might have been the best. What do you think? It might have been awesome. You know, superintendent's report ever. I feel like I'm going to kind of ruin it, but I got a couple other small things.
We want them back every
Cancel the
month. Can we
February
get them back?
Yeah, we got to do this more often, I think.
Yeah.
But really, I
replace
think
the February 13th board meeting with Les Mis.
we could do that.
We could just skip the
That's
board
interesting.
meeting.
So moved.
So, keep that thought. Just on a note, I mean, kids are great. Just the collaboration again, working with teachers. But the other piece is the board's commitment, our community's commitment to the arts. We know that that's gone by the wayside in these tough times.
Right.
But we've grown, and to be able to recognize that we have great partners across this community, and it really is pretty amazing when you step back for just a second and you look at what we have and what's afforded us, from the university to AFBAS to a number of different venues. Even for me last night, being at the melting pond at the Rabbit Box, listening to our young student stories. I mean, it really is pretty amazing what we're able to do, but that's because people just give us a hand. But it's tremendous that we keep our eye on the arts, and we should never lose that. But there are a couple other items, and we'll just switch gears. The one is just technology. I want to thank Taylor Duke and his team. We have to ratchet up our infrastructure, and before the break, just had a lot of devices that were slowing down, and they got a fix for us for the filter, and that's up and running. But I'm real pleased. I walked probably 70% of our schools this past week, and it's just amazing to see our kids just in digital environments. I would say that probably 90% of the students that I saw actually were engaged using a technological piece to really change the way they look at their work, and that was really pleasing. The second is really a story that I think just dovetails for what we heard tonight, and this goes with Ted Gilbert's crew. We talked about the cold weather, and I'm really pleased that we made the decisions we did in this cold weather for our children, because it was cold and it was the right thing to do. But behind the scenes, what people don't realize is what it takes in order to keep our buildings warm. It isn't a matter of let's turn on the lights and we have heat on Monday morning or Tuesday morning. And in fact, Ted and I were communicating Mr. Gilbert on Sunday, but his crew was out starting on Saturday. I was out, went and checked. We split duties to see what schools we'd go to on Sunday, just to make sure that we had heat, and we had it right down to the room. I mean, we have it electronic, but we want to physically go see. So I go to Whit Davis, and the team was there. I walked in the door, and 4 of them, I saw their legs on a ladder. I mean, they're up in the ceiling, making sure that the filters were correct. And I don't think, Mr. Gilbert, we had really many issues at all concerning what it could have been. But that wasn't because we waited to that morning and said, let's just open school and hope the heat's on. That was a lot of pre-planning, and your team did a terrific job on that. But it came to be that it was a very interesting scenario, and I wasn't sure if I was going to share it, but I think it's worth sharing. So, you know, I walked in, I wanted to go to Coyle. I think that was one of the things. So I said, well, let me check Coyle because, by the way, our painting is done, and our painting's done at Coyle, and our painting's done at BHL and Cedar Shoals, and it looks wonderful. But I wanted to make sure Coyle was in place. So usually I don't carry a key to every school, and there's a reason for that. So don't ever ask me for a key. I've got my card, but I don't usually get through the vestibule at Coyle. So I said, well, I'll try something different. I'll go through the back door. Do you know what I mean? I'll go through the cafeteria. So, okay, it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And the first thing I come across is the head of cafeteria service. He says, no, I'm just catching up. I wanted to make sure I got this work done. I want to be prepared tomorrow. So this is 2 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So now I'm walking through the hallways and I'm checking everything. And I walked by a classroom. And door was open and it was freezing. I know. I said, the northerner said it was freezing. It was cold. Cold. But I walked by and it's cold. And I said, wow, what's happening, Ted? This room wasn't on the list. So I go into the room and the door was open to the outside. I go, oh, that's kind of odd. But then I looked to my left and there was a teacher from Coyle, and she was there at her laptop, and I won't go through names. So I said, it's 2 o'clock. I mean, what are you doing? And she says, oh, I'm working on my comps. Oh, your comps for your doctorate program. Okay. Well, why are you doing it here? And I looked around and the doors are open. And she says, well, I'll tell you what. I said, I came in because I know they cleaned the carpets before I left, but I wasn't sure it was clean enough for my kids, right? So what she had done, she had the shampooer and did a second coat on the shampoo on Tuesday. Said, I don't want my kids to get sick. And she shampooed the carpet again, and she opened the door to dry it out. Well, it wasn't going to dry it out. But it was just quite a testament to say, why are you here? Why? Because my rugs were dirty. I want to make sure my kids didn't get sick. So that was kind of what I saw on a Sunday afternoon after a winter break
That's awesome.
before. So that was just one school, one moment at one point in time, and I think that's across the district. So I just want to, because I think that really dovetails into what we saw today, that there are many, many of those individuals that do those extra things that don't come out, quote, as we say, in a test score or some other, piece of digital information. So with that ends my report, President Worthy.
Thank you, Dr. Lanou. Well, we're going to move forward on the board reports. Mr. Payne, GSBA Director's report. Do you have a report?
Yes, I have a short report,
Okay.
Mr. Worthy, to the board. During our annual meeting in Atlanta, I asked Sis Henry, who is Executive Secretary of GSBA, and Trudy Sauer, who is Head of Risk Management and Workers' Compensation, if I could have a meeting with them. And so they scheduled a meeting, and I met with them. And my concern is the same concern that we have throughout the state, and that is making sure that the janitors and bus drivers are insured. And this same problem came up in 1990 when the company that insured most of the superintendent's school district in the state of Georgia went belly up, and we lost about 70% of our people didn't have insurance. And the independent carriers, because they had not participated with them, and they had participated with this other company, they raised the rates, and many of the school districts was not able to meet and pay and get the insurance that was necessary, so they had to combine with other school districts. Many of the municipalities, they had to do the same. And so school superintendents came to Gabriel Ashley and said, they have self-insured in South Carolina. Can we get that here in Georgia? So he started working. He met with the executive committee and with the board of directors, and we gave him the go-ahead, and they started working to get the workman compensation started, and it was started in 1992. And the reason it was started, there was a need in the state of Georgia. And that's why I met with them. There was a need in the state of Georgia throughout the whole state to make sure that our janitors and bus drivers are insured. Some of them cannot afford their own private insurance. And the state do not give us the money to insure them now. And many school districts, just like you saw this program here tonight, they don't have those programs in their school district. Many of the musical programs and other programs have been cut out because they just don't have the funds. And I thought that maybe they could look in to see other school districts that was had started their own self-insurance to insure the bus drivers and janitors. And they called me last week and said it is impossible. This is a very, because of the Obama administration and this insurance that he has put out, it's making it very difficult to get a new insurance off the ground. So we will not be able to do that at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Okay. We'll move forward to the next item, and that's policy discussion.
No
We don't
policy
have
discussions. We will have policy at the end of January.
any. Okay, so we're down to item G, action items, and the first one is minutes of the previous meetings. We had two got a call meeting and a regular meeting. If you reviewed those minutes, I'll entertain a motion for approval.
I have.
Moved by Mr. Payne. We got a second on that? Second by Ms. Ellis. Any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions pertaining to the minutes? All in favor? Okay, that's a unanimous vote, Ms. Weaver.
Great.
Unanimous vote. Okay, Dr. Lanou.
Number 2, recommend approval of the financial report from November 2013.
Okay, recommendation from the superintendent on the financial report for November of 2013. Moved by Dr. Spangler, seconded by Ms. Williams. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Any questions? All in favor? Very much. That's a unanimous vote, I believe. Okay, Dr. Lanou, policy.
Policies recommend approval. It's been for public review. GBRIG, Federal Family and Medical Leave Act. Recommend approval of this policy.
Okay, this is a recommendation on the Family and Medical Leave Act. It's been revised. Got a motion on that? Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second on that? Second by Ms. Ellis. Any questions? Any questions? I have one comment I want to make, and I was reading through here, and so many lines drawn, and so many things have changed, and I put a question mark beside this. So it's no longer required that a employee would have to have 1,250 hours for the Family and Medical Leave Act, because it's crossed out.
That's a federal requirement, so that's
Okay.
still there. I'm not sure.
Well, I was asking because a line is drawn through it, and I thought it had been taken out.
I guess
Our lines through it is.
it is out.
Bus drivers in that policy, and they don't meet the criteria of 1250.
Say that again.
Our intent was to include bus drivers on the family medical leave policy. They don't meet the 1250 hour requirement, so we struck through it.
So-
Going above and beyond what the federal requirement is.
So it's out.
Right.
Okay,
Yes.
all right, okay. That's all I have on that. Any further questions on this?
Thank you.
Any further questions? All in favor of this policy? Okay, that's a unanimous vote, Ms. Raymond. Thank you.
And next, there's not a vote, but there's regulation on property disposal procedure. Any questions? If there aren't any questions with that, that regulation will go into effect. Okay, regulation will go into effect.
Okay.
Next, recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Recommendation on the consent agenda. Need a motion on that. Moved by Ms. Williams. Got a second on that? Second by Ms. Ellis. All in favor? Thank you.
Okay.
Motion carried, unanimous.
Next, and I'm going to, Dr. Tavernier, I'm going to ask you to talk a little bit about this in just a minute in terms of our program of studies. We've done a lot of work with our program of studies over the last 2 years. I think, Mark, it was last year when we really sat down and really scrutinized the work of our program of studies to make sure it aligns with those course numbers and requirements that are under standards for the state of Georgia. This was a joint effort to begin to collapse and streamline, and if you think of a program, what you want to do is to be able to have the tightest program possible, because if it starts getting large and singletons, it's very, very hard to fund and to keep going. And so what we were able to do is to, leverage our resources where we thought was central for our students. And Mark, and any comments if I could ask, just in terms of process, yes, if you could please, because Mark, it now comes under Dr. Tavernier, which it should, but he can talk at least a little bit at that this was a comprehensive process before it got to here. And I also want to note that Anissa has been part of this, as she again puts that together to make it look reasonable.
Yeah, formatting's all hers.
Yeah,
but
right.
The process, and we started this last year, but have really refined it this year, is to work the product itself was assigned to me as my responsibility, and worked directly with the high schools, both at the school level and the high school instructional councils throughout the fall to, gather input, what's working, what's not working, what are some changes that need to be made. And I worked with Denise. I think she sent out to you sort of a summary of the most significant changes. And those this year, actually, because as Dr. Lanou said, last year we cut the document significantly. It was about 56 pages last year, and have just the essential information in there. The things that we had to add this year were basically DOE requirements, EOCT test out requirements, some changes in access to virtual courses, those sorts of things. And then DOE math course changes, again, for next year and for the third level of mathematics, as well as some tweaking to some pathways that we're offering at the Athens Community Career Academy. And I believe all those were reflected in the document that she sent out to you.
And one of the significant noted changes is that we've made a decision to move several of our intro technical courses like business and
Marketing.
and marketing
Healthcare.
and healthcare. We're going to move the intro course back to the high school, just the intro course, not the whole pathway, but the intro course. So our students in 10th grade could start the intro course and then begin to move into the career pathway and the career academy or wherever it leads it to. So we think that's going to get students to be able to begin to fulfill their career pathways much earlier. And it's not certainly going back that we got all our pathways at the high school. It's not CTA. It's going into the career academy, and it aligns very well with the new pathways that we put forth, which are also in this document. There is one note that we did make a modification, just even since that time, is tools for college success. I'll note for the record, we will not offer and we will delete. That was a program we started with the Career Academy, but it really didn't have the strength or it didn't do really what we wanted it to do, and we're leveraging our resources, we think, back into those 10th grade classes. So that will not be offered, tools for college success. So that's the only change from the document that you have.
Okay.
So I would ask, I'd ask for approval.
Okay, Superintendent is asking for an approval of the 2014-2015 high school program of studies. Need a motion on that. Moved by Dr. Spangler. Got a second from you, Mr. Huff. I see your hand. Second from Mr. Huff. We have any questions pertaining to the program of study, the high school program of study?
Based on the email that you sent out earlier today, what's the impact in terms of, there were some new requirements for
Hope?
Hope Scholarship for Technical College students.
I'm really exploring those. I don't know what's accurate. I just saw that from a newspaper article, and we're exploring what the implications are and if we have to make some adjustments. But there was certainly some language in the Hope Scholarship in referencing, at least this came from some other news sources, where students had to take AP, dual enrollment, and IB. I'd like to get a little bit more information about that because I have strong concerns, as we all do, I hope, about that.
Absolutely.
But I would say, given even that of some form, we're positioned well, given our strong dual enrollment program at the Career Academy, our strong AP program, as well as IB. So if you look, if that ever happened, we'd probably be in one of the best positions of any district, but I hope that's not the case.
It felt like we were positioning. I felt like, again, with the direction that you've taken us, we should be able to kind of weather that. But there were some really strong requirements at the 8th grade level that were very foreign to me, especially as it relates to Hope. And so, yes, I'm anxious to hear more.
I think we're very positioned. I hope it's not as just structured as what they said. But if we know that our students in 8th grade are putting together their career pathways, that is required. We're doing that now. It's really extending through the middle school. We put together with Instructional Council a plan to how we're going to document and record pathways, so it's linked back to counselors being to know where they are in their pathways. But 186 says that every student will be in one of 17 technical clusters or 4 academic clusters. And those are noted they're on our website. You're going to see a link that says career clusters. Please, if you're listening to the meeting, click that button. You'll see all the clusters and descriptors, and including what students should be taking in their 4-year path. So it's bringing clarity to that, and it still has some flexibility, but I think there's certainly some work to do. I think we're well ahead of the game.
Dr. Springer, you got a question?
I just wanted to say, I know this is a huge undertaking, and I really appreciate the summary sheet of changes and the highlights of the changes that made it much easier to look at. So I know that was probably a hassle to do, so thank you, Vanessa.
Okay, Ms. Payne?
Yes, my question is to Dr. Lanu and Dr. Price. With all these course changes and everything that we have and you mentioned the counselor, could we get a report on the counselor? I have never been satisfied. The state has never given us enough money to have enough counselors in our school. And with these changes and with all these new programs that they have, the different pathways, I would like to get a report to see exactly what the counselors are doing now, to make sure that all students are knowledgeable of the courses they can take, the pathways they can go.
Sure, and I will say this, that one of the changes that I made this year, which is above and beyond, is added a counselor at each high school. That was not in our original budget, and we had some resources that were for the Career Academy, and I assumed the position that rather than just put a career counselor at the Career Academy to go to the high schools, we put a counselor in each of the high schools that actually goes to the Career Academy 2 days a week. So they feel much more connected. So, and we can get a report, but I'm pleased to say that we added a counselor, which is above what has been there for years, to help just in this, with the Career Academy, and to help this process through career clusters. Is it enough? No, we all would like more.
No,
we can get a report to you.
No.
But I'm really pleased to say that we did add a position at each high school that's helped us tremendously.
Okay. Ms. Ellis?
I just want to, I said this back when I gave my GSBA summary from attending the conference, but I just want to remind everybody and just say it again because I think it's worth it, that I went to a mini session on career pathways hoping to get something out of it, and I didn't because nobody who was sitting in that room was nearly as far along in this process as we were, and even the DOE who ran the meeting was, I don't even think they were as far along as we are. So it was, I'm very impressed, and so thank you very much. And I think that there are a lot of districts who are just starting to figure out that they need to crank something like this out to their students, and so it's really nice to be ahead.
I mean, our goal is target Dr. Tavernier is in campus by January 31st. We would all 9th and 10th grade will have their complete pathways developed. Not means it can be changed, but they have a direction.
Okay. Any further questions, comments? Okay. All in favor? Okay. Yeah, unanimous vote on that.
And I would also make a note in terms of how we're going to distribute. Typically, in the past, we had 4,000 books. We're going to cut down on the number of hard copy books, and because we have student emails and parent listservs, this is electronic. Talked to Anissa, and she's going to put together a program where it acts like pages, so it's a whole lot easier. But this will be pushed out digitally for students and parents, and we have hard copies as well. But it'll be in both. It'll be in both types.
Okay. Item 13. 12. I'm sorry.
Number 12, I'd ask that we ratify the furniture purchase for Barrow, Witt Davis, and H.B. Stroud. This was increase in numbers, and it's off the bid list, and we went with the same furniture that we had because we wanted matching sets. We didn't want to add new furniture. So I authorized this from Ted to order because I believed our kids needed chairs and desks.
Okay, you're ratifying the furniture for Barrow, Witt, and Stroud. That's $41,832.60. You making a recommendation?
I make a recommendation, yes,
Okay.
to ratify. I've ordered them, so
Yeah.
just for the record, help me.
Make sure you don't have to pay for this.
Move by Mr. Payne.
We're getting this back.
Okay, got a motion for Mr. Payne. Need a second from Mr. Huff. Any questions about item 12? Any questions? All in favor? Okay. Ms. Thornton, you abstaining? Okay.
Sorry.
That's a no vote?
That's a no vote, abstain, wherever you want to call it.
Which one is it?
There's
No?
a difference between those two.
Okay.
Abstain.
Okay. All righty. Item 13.
I'd ask that we approve personnel recommendations and addendum.
Okay, recommendation on the personnel, from the superintendent. Need a motion on that. Moved by Ms. Davis. Got a second on that? Second by Dr. Spangler. All in favor? Okay. Unanimous vote. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Please.
Moved by Ms. Davis. Second by Ms. Ellis. Okay. All right, a second for Ms. Ellis. Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Okay, that's a unanimous vote, I know.
Thank you.